Good day, everyone. This is David Paulides, and you are listening to the Missing 411 podcast. For those just tuning in, I am the custodian of thousands of cases where people have vanished from the wilderness under the most inexplicable circumstances. We call this the Missing 411 phenomena. It's a time I have come to dread. Today, we are focusing on a unique confluence of events, a seasonal ritual that places people directly in harm's way. Right now, mid-May, pushing into June, is the season of the morel, the mushroom hunter's gold rush. It forces you off the well-trodden path and demands a lethal kind of tunnel vision. You are hunched over, staring at the dirt, focused only on that small fungal bud popping out of the earth. You're in the burn area, the scarred earth from last summer's fires, because that is where the growth is most prolific. You have your knife, you make your clean cut, you use your breathable sack, but in that posture, you lose your awareness. You sacrifice your surroundings for a piece of ground-level treasure. And that, in the high country, the deep forest, is a luxury the wilderness rarely affords you. Distraction here is lethal. You have the known threats, the grizzly bears. They are mean, they are protective. You never, ever want to stumble between a sow and her cub. Don't let your eyes be glued to the ground, or you will find out what the end of the trail really means. But the real danger, the threat that operates on a much deeper, macro level, is not always something with teeth and claws. It is often something microscopic. This season is also the peak activity for ticks. The very act of successful mushroom hunting means you are crashing through tall grass and brush. You are leaving the safety of the path. Ticks carry the nastiest things you can imagine. Lyme disease is an epidemic back east, but here we deal with Rocky Mountain spotted fever. These are not minor ailments. They can ruin your life, sometimes for years. I have known people whose lives were permanently altered by these infections. One person I was recently out with had 8 ticks on him. 8. We found one on my belt line, burrowed in. They latch on, they suck your blood, and the longer they are attached, the greater the risk of disease transmission. The safety rule is simple, and it connects directly to the cases where victims are found disoriented. Do not play games with it. Check yourself, use gaiters, and if you find one, seek antibiotics immediately. Waiting for the swelling is a deadly gamble. The terrifying reality of the missing 411 phenomenon is that it is not exclusive to the North American continent. It is a global shadow. I received a story from a Vietnam-era veteran, a man who grew up on a small reservation in South Dakota. His people have been giving us warnings for centuries. He and his father were checking traps one December night, pitch dark. They were 50 yards apart on opposite sides of a frozen river. Suddenly, ahead of the father came the loudest, most aggressive scream or yell, a sound that was undeniably lethal. His father, a combat veteran, was across that frozen river in 2 seconds flat. The entity made a clear, conscious decision not to attack them. This is the kind of non-human vocalization, the intelligent presence, that we see repeated in hundreds of our missing 411 reports. The shadow extends to Eastern Europe. A medical student wrote about the Rhodope Mountains, a region they call the Bulgarian Bermuda Triangle. In 1985, an engineer photographed a set of giant footprints in the snow. The Soviet Zoology Bureau confirmed this was not a fabrication. Confirmed prints of a creature unknown to current science, a clear parallel to the Bigfoot sightings we logged near our clusters. Years later, near that same spot, a physician was walking a familiar path. He suddenly felt the world turn, dreamlike and unreal, a profound shift in his reality, the kind of temporal distortion reported in many high strangeness cases. He turned and saw a humanoid figure following him. It stopped precisely at the tree line. When he escaped, the reality returned, but with it came a bizarre sense of sadness and loneliness. A chilling psychological residue Was this a psychic lure, a bait to draw him back into the trees? Or a glimpse through a momentarily open dimensional rift? In the critical piece, a missing man was found 2 months after his disappearance, his body located in a spot that had been searched repeatedly beforehand. This signature anomaly, the body reappearing, is a hallmark of the most disturbing missing 411 cases globally. It defies conventional logic. Our final letter comes from a 30-year paramedic and a seasoned search and rescue professional, a man who initially called me a quack. In New Mexico, his canine partner, Bear, hit a track and then suddenly stopped, refused to go any further. This baffling behavior of SAR dogs locking up is a consistent, unexplained anomaly in missing 411 areas. Years later, his new dog led them to a familiar boulder. The remains were found directly at the original SAR command post. Were the remains moved, or were they only allowed to be found at that specific moment in time? This is the ultimate question of manipulation. This medic notes the clothing paradox. In hypothermia, people shed clothes, but in our cases, it is often the shoes and pants that are missing first. Removing shoes and pants requires effort. Why expend that energy if you are dying? It suggests a ritualistic signature, an act of control by the predatory intelligence. He asks about the smell of adrenaline, that musky scent of pure biological fear. Could this odor be what draws the predator, a beacon to an entity that only hunts under these high-stress conditions? What connects all these dots? The paralyzed dog, the reappearing body, the clothing manipulation, the aggressive scream. It's not enough to blame it on a simple fall or animal attack. The anomalies point to an external, non-terrestrial intelligence. I have spent time with physicists who study fringe science. They confirm that technologies or natural phenomena exist that we do not understand. Could the creatures being seen, the cryptids, the forest man, the Bigfoot, be the physical manifestation of an entity that primarily exists on the other side of a threshold? An intelligence that can step into our reality, hunt, and then retreat, leaving behind only the most baffling clues for us to find. The logic of conventional search and rescue does not always follow, and that is the central thesis of the missing 411 research. We must acknowledge the unknown before we can ever hope to solve it. This is the first step towards safety. I urge all of you, be safe. Hike with a partner. Buy that personal locator beacon for your friends who go off trail. If you break your leg deep in the wilderness, your chances of survival are less than 1% without one. When your eyes are fixed on the ground, searching for that prized mushroom, remember the vast, open space around you. Remember the shadows in the burn area. Keep your head up. Pay attention. Because in the deep woods, something is always watching. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Be safe, love your neighbor, and be kind. Good day.